Hello. I wanted to submit my experience as a student at European Graduate School. I felt like it was necessary as I haven't seen anyone do so on the web. I don't know where to place myself in terms of being a typical student or atypical. I'm probably somewhere in the middle, in that sense, probably relatively typical. If there's a couple of different types of students, I fall into one of the common categories I would expect. I attended European Graduate School EGS this past summer for my first year session. I borrowed money from the United States Department of Education, administered by the federal government, to pay over $9,000 in tuition and about $3,000 for hotel and travel fees. I was excited at the prospect of being able to study with a number of noteworthy philosophers and continental philosophy. I had taken a great interest in continental philosophy in recent years, hence my interest in European Graduate School. What I got for my money, however, was unacceptable. Shockingly unacceptable. The two persons, I was going to name names here, but there's not much to the administration of the school as far as I know, so I place the target of my grievances to the senior administration of the school, and the conduct of the classes provided by the administration, some of the core, what was supposed to be core fundamentals of sort of graduate school training in terms of conducting work as a component of the program and as a result of the program. So, what I would think would be the educational or the development of graduate students in terms of their capabilities and outputs in terms of writing and research. His conduct was a joke. I mean, I put it very simply as a joke. It was a charade. It was a charade. It was false. It was acting to portray a real fun time and like lots of jokes and joking around, but there was very little meaningful content provided in terms of these fundamental courses that we paid money for, or that I paid money for. Quite literally, the administrator came to class only 2 out of 3 scheduled short meetings. I would put them at about an hour. Whether or not they were 2 hours, I would put them at about 1 hour. And he handed out one sheet of paper. It might have been two-sided, that was supposed to, be the substantial meat of our graduate training in continental philosophy, in terms of guiding us in our research endeavors, in our writing endeavors, in our thinking endeavors. One sheet. he ended classes early and canceled the last class for no reason other than that he did not want to perform the charade a third time. Even himself, he seemed embarrassed or at least contemptuous of us, the students. He conveyed his contempt for us constantly. The entire graduate school experience, which we would see this guy on a daily basis. So at the night lectures, some of which had valuable content, but very few. I mean, every single night we were going to these, and I felt like I was little more than an audience for these inane, irrelevant, and undesirable sophists. I mean, it was like not everyone who was there, but generally, it was tiresome, boring. Maybe you could say some of the content was over my head. I'm the first to say that I'm not the maximum in terms of my intelligence, but I'm pretty capable as a student, and I have a pretty level foundation in terms of language aptitude and quantitative logic aptitude, and a lot of it was very, very, very specialized and did not have broad application to the kinds of thinking that drew me there. There were some of it did, but large sections of it did not. So anyways, that's just another important. I mean, there were a lot of persons who presented at these nightly lectures, and who are a cross-section of the faculty and guests. Some of them were outright offensive. I mean, some of it was really terrible. And we paid money for this. I mean, I wouldn't be happy if I was paid myself. Anyways, the condescension and dishonesty of the administrator was alarming and disgusting, disturbing. Kept trying to act funny, like a comedian, which in my view was to keep people entertained and distracted from the fact that they were lured into an operation that feigns to be an educational institution, but in actuality nothing but a vacation resort for the faculty who attend. That's exactly what it was. I'm glad I did a little writing here. I felt like, there were a couple of classes. These are now like the day classes, what was supposed to be the meat of the program. I don't know. I would put that down as. Let me repeat that. We students were lured into. Most of us. Again, I think there are some students out there who this is appropriate for, but I would say that did not compose the majority of the student body, or at least not a vast majority, and I would not consider myself to be in that group. So, students were lured into an operation that feigns to be an educational institution, but in actuality is nothing but a vacation resort for the faculty who attend. It's important. Faculty taught if they felt like teaching, or just talked about something half intellectual, half semi-academic, if they don't. If they didn't. If they felt like teaching, they did. If they didn't, they just talked about, they put out the facade of a class and of teaching and instruction. Faculty canceled class at will. Sometimes there were only 3 classes for a particular faculty member, and they would cancel one of those classes. Or 6, and they would cancel one. Even if they were only scheduled to teach 3 to 6 2-hour classes. Um, the financial aspect. The financial controller also was part of the administration who struck me as undesirable and suspect and dishonest. Um, I get into, some very negative terminology, but part of this operation involved students making $1,000 US dollar deposit for the hotel accommodations. However, only 900 Swiss francs ever get applied to the hotel bill. The conversion rate between US dollars and Swiss francs at the time in that general vicinity was around $1.05. $1.05 US dollars per 1 Swiss franc. A simple arithmetic operation, 1,000 divided by 1.05 reveals 1,000 US dollars to be worth 952.38 Swiss francs. More than 50 US dollars, or 5% of the deposit, was stolen, presumably by the controller himself. This occurred immediately upon arrival to Sosfie, so I was immediately suspicious of the situation. I mean, I was wondering if this was going to happen because I was so hesitant to go to this school because I felt like I felt like it could be a scam to begin with. I could not see, based on their media and their website, what was going on, and I paid the price because I fell for it. I can't believe it. I want to kill myself. That's how bad it is. That's how bad it was. I feel so bad that I gave these people who are the enemy. I went to EGS and made enemies. I liked a lot. The students were great. Most of the students were great. There were a lot of criticisms, and I could reveal other information, but I'm not going to right now. If you're a student thinking about going to EGS but you're feeling a little on the fence, you're kind of suspicious. You should be suspicious. It's theft. That's what I felt like. I was a larcened. This is like a larceny thing. Forgive me if I didn't use that term properly. The performance of the administration was a total disgrace. A joke that should not have been told. For EGS is not it was not suggested that it is a comedy club. It was supposed to be a graduate school. Or it is supposed to be a graduate school. Not supposed to be a comedy club, but a graduate school. Now, I guess on my soapbox, the professors should have strictly adhered to their expected teaching times and also have taught more. How does 12 hours of teaching equate to 40 plus hours of classroom time in a traditional school? No assignments were given outside of the readings, which you couldn't find out about until you committed to the endeavor. Some of the professors did nothing but read from books, including they're very interesting thinkers and writers, but all they did was read from the book. You can read the book by yourself. You can spend $15 instead of, I don't know if it comes down to like $2,000 for one faculty member to offer 3 to 6 lectures. Or 10,000 if you want to include everyone. And essentially, that's mostly what we did. They read from the books that were assigned. They just read what they had assigned, as though no one did the reading. It was that was almost universal. So they offered little to no content outside the original text. Very, very. It was obscene. It was criminal. It was them taking a vacation. I mean, and us paying for that. Why would I want to pay for someone else's vacation? For these sophists who don't contribute anything to me. I don't care about their thought that much. And neither should you. If you do something like this, you don't love yourself. You hate yourself. If you hate yourself, then you should go there to European Graduate School. Now on to the students. I was gonna say some other things about this. I could say lots of bad things about this. A lot of the students I met there. I'm not gonna say anything. If you want education or didactics that you cannot get from the books themselves, look elsewhere. EGS is a scam. EGS is a fraudulent school. Boycott EGS. Boycott their faculty. Boycott their views. I was looking for truth and expansion of knowledge. What I got was $15,000 increase in student loan debt and a 3-week vacation. Worth it? I leave that up to you to decide.